Okay guys, so now we are going to study about lubrication in the stern tube bearings. Okay, so as you can see, initially when your shaft is at a standby, when the engine is not rotating and the bearings, the shaft is resting on the bearings, the oil pressure, the stern tube oil pressure is creating a minimal film between the bearing and the shaft, so that just to avoid the frictional heat. So that stage where initially the engine is started, say dead slow head or during maneuvering time.
To every marine engineer out there, from junior engineer to chief engineer and electrical officer, we all know that earning respect on ship is very important. We all know fast promotions are very important, and we all know that इज्जत कमानी है, promotion चाहिए तो काम आना चाहिए, तो जूते पड़ते हैं, गालियां पड़ती हैं, and for that you need a good mentor. Sometimes we keep finding those mentors on board ship, अगर नहीं मिल रहे तो MNDFLIX है ना, Merchant Navy Decoded has launched a subscription model where you can find more than 30 plus courses with respect to your rank, helping you earn respect on ship. Please enroll on these free trial videos, watch these videos as per rank, and then decide whether you want to invest or not, with a very good flexible payment plan as well. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata.
That lubrication part is called boundary lubrication. So initially when there is a chance of metal to metal contact like this, where the 90% of the load rests here. So you can see there is a minimal oil film, the yellow colored oil film, minimum oil film between the journal and the bearing. Okay, that is the between the shaft and the bearing. There is a minimum oil film and there is a chance of metal to metal contact between the two sliding surfaces. So this happens only during the initial starting, during maneuvering, or when the shutdown is happening, when you are stopping the engine from, say, slowly reducing the speed, and that time, because there is no continuous oil film, this boundary lubrication takes place. So at the heavily loaded conditions, this boundary lubrication takes place. That is why it is very important to maintain the stern tube oil pressure. Stern tube oil pressure. Okay, and the header tank level, because you see this is a gravity tank. So gravity tank will supply oil inside this surface. So if your gravity tank level is low, that means the head is less. That means, as we know, rho gh, by rho gh, if your height reduces, the force reduces, right? Okay, so as your height reduces, the lube oil film reduces and there is a chance of bearing wear down. So basically when the initial lubrication phase is there is a boundary lubrication. Okay, as we move ahead, as we say the shaft starts rotating a little more, and they say we have moved from dead slow ahead to slow ahead. Okay, at that time there is this film lubrication which is called the mixed film lubrication. The boundary lubrication is dramatically reduced as the sliding speed increases between the shaft and the bearing. There is a relative motion between the shaft and the bearing surface. The sliding speed increases, and due to which there is a wedge, creation of a wedge. So this second stage of lubrication is called the mixed film lubrication. As you can see, there is a film of oil already starting to generate between the two surfaces. And the final, this is the full fluid film lubrication. We also know that this lubrication as a hydrodynamic lubrication. Why hydrodynamic? As the word goes, hydro refers to your fluid, hydraulics. Okay, so fluids basically refer to hydro, and dynamic means where the fluid is moving fluid lubrication. Full fluid film lubrication, hydrodynamic lubrication. This is what is governing your, not just stern tube bearing, also the main bearing is having this kind of full fluid film lubrication. So basically what happens, as you can see, this is the shaft. Inside you can see your shaft, and this is your stern tube bearing. Outside, this is your stern tube bearing. Okay, as the shaft is loaded, the weight of the shaft is resting on the bearing edge. So your oil which is having minimum, because the oil will be always pressed when the shaft is loaded on the bearing, the oil will always press, so there is no chance of oil to create a film here. But how in such a scenario also the film is created? So that is called the sliding motion. So when this shaft starts rotating, the bearing does not rotate at the same speed. There is a difference in the speed of the rotation of this bearing and this shaft, because the transmission of this motion is lagging in the bearing. So this difference in speed creates a separation between the shaft and the bearing surface between the general bearing, which makes your oil dynamic, which moves your oil. So basically when this oil is pressed up and the speed is less, this is trying to cope up, your bearing is trying to cope up the speed of the shaft is started moving faster, and still your bearing is moving slower. So there is a difference in speed, and this difference in speed causes the oil to squeeze in between the shaft. Even your shaft is loaded, but the oil squeezes inside the two surfaces. That's why it's also called the squeeze film lubrication. Squeeze film, full fluid film, squeeze film, or hydrodynamic lubrication. Same, names are different, but the concept is same. This creates an oil wedge. Oil squeezes inside, and this creates like a wedge. Means the purpose of wedge is, so you know wedge, like the jack. It is like a jack which lifts something. When you put a wooden plank or a wedge on something to lift it up, which is like this material which is pushing something up. So as soon as the oil is squeezed inside this shaft, it creates a wedge like surface like this. So like this, your bearing is now on the oil wedge. The oil wedge is providing a hydrodynamic lift. So since both of the surfaces were running touching each other, the difference in speed, the difference in relative motion created a oil wedge. Oil squeezed inside, and this wedge like surface is created. Wedge like thing is created, which is pushing the shaft now to allow to lift up. So this is called the hydrodynamic lift. So when the shaft lifts up, more of the oil is entering inside, and then what happens is your complete shaft gets lifted by the oil pressure, and the shaft is now resting on the oil as the speed increases. So there is no no surface to surface contact between the two surfaces. All the heat of friction is taken up by this oil, and the oil will completely form a film. Beneath the loaded shaft, and the bearing will form a boundary on the other side. So this is called the hydrodynamic lubrication. It starts from boundary, goes to mixed lubrication, and then as the speed picks up, due to lagging of speed of the bearing, the oil wedge creates, and it creates a hydrodynamic lift, due to which your shaft gets lifted up, and then as this wedge is pushing up the shaft, your complete oil film lubrication is established. So this is your hydrodynamic lubrication that is taking place in your stern tube bearing. Okay, so this is how the stern tube bearing is being lubricated. Both your aft side stern tube bearing and the forward side stern tube bearing, both of them are being lubricated by this, okay, hydrodynamic lubrication. So all oil is being filled in the complete tube, hollow tube, and it passes on, as we have seen in the previous section, that it passes on inside the bearing holes, okay, and then it creates this kind of oil wedge that you have seen right now. Okay, thank you guys.